Hi, come on in. Welcome to the first Hooked Hangout Crochet Podcast. Going to have a look at my works in progress, at what I did last year, the end of last year, what projects I maybe completed or maybe didn't, and what things I'd like to try in projects for this year coming up. One or two of the things that I've just never tried before, so it'd be really nice to try them. And also have a little look and chat about my Shopify shop and what you can find on it and so on. And just a general chat to keep you company about all things that we might find crochet interesting. So let's have a look. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. My name is Caroline. This is Caro-stitched, and this podcast is a crochet podcast called The Hooked Hangout. Now, this is my first one of this year. I'm very excited about this year going forward. And we'll start with having a quick look at my works in progress. Now, last year, I had done a Temu haul, and I thought I would crochet some of those things and let you know how it was going. Now, I did start this lovely blanket out of some of the wool. I didn't bring down a new roll out of it, but it's quite thick wool, chenille, quite thick, and just to start a plain blanket with it. And I had hoped to be a little bit further on as what I am, but other things took precedent, which I'll talk about in a minute. It crochets up quite well. It's quite a nice chenille. The only problem I have had with it is that a lot of the wool seems to have some marks and things on it, and some of the balls of wool, I had one ball of wool which had tiny pieces of wool on it, so it was, like a couple of feet long, and then it would start on the next piece, so they were coming in shorter strands. But that's not every ball of wool, so some of the balls of wool is whole the whole way through, so I think it just does depend. But it's perfectly good for the money that I spent on it, but I don't think I would use that for selling. But it's lovely. This blanket will be for my grandchildren to use when they're here anyway, so it'll be lovely for that. I'll give it a wash and so on before they use it, and it'll be super for them. Now, another wool that I got from Temu is this wool. Again, it's a chenille, but it's a little bit finer, a little bit thinner, very velvety, really, really nice wool, and actually makes up really well. Really pleased with it. And actually, I've bought another couple of different types of it since then, because it does crochet up really well, looks lovely, feels really nice. Definitely would recommend this one. I will link. I made twist headband things out of them for sale, and got so much interest for them at my craft fest I did at the end of last year. I'll put a photograph up here of one of the ones I've made out of this. Really nice. I also have a red one that I made too. Really, really nice. Comes out really well. Really pleased with that one. That one I would recommend to anybody to try. Really like that one. So another one of the things that I've started this year doing is this, another blanket, which is such a surprise. Now this is moss stitch, and I do really like it. It's coming out lovely. I think I've just made a mistake there. I'll have to take that right back to there. That's a shame. It is coming out lovely. I've forgotten how much I see. Everybody makes a mistake. I'm now going to have to frog this all the way back to there. Now, I have found that I decided I was going to do some new different stitches for people, so that they could try them. Where's my bowl gone? So that people could try them, and I thought that that would be quite nice to put up on the channel. Lots of different stitches that people could try. I've got this in a bit of a witter, my apologies. You can tell that I am not editing this all right. At the end of the ball of wool almost, and it's just sort of coming apart now on me, which is fine, but now I'm going to have to frog this back it's going to end up being, right, that's better. So let's just take this back to that mistake, and I'll chat as we go. So yes, what I was saying is that I decided that I would do a little series of tutorials on different stitches that people could try, because it's nice to be able to look at them and go, oh, that's how you do that. I hadn't tried that one. And when I was doing that, the first one that I'm trying is actually coming out this week on Friday, and it's going to be moss stitch. Now, I had forgot, I think, 'cause you try so many different things, you do so many different things, you sort of forget sometimes some of the simpler things that you're doing that actually work out really well. And I had forgot about moss stitch and how much I enjoyed making it. So when I was doing the tutorial, I thought, oh yeah, I really like this stitch. I'd forgot how much I did. So makes up again so nice and quickly, looks lovely, and is easy to do. Doesn't take too much time. So as I say, I forgot about that, and then I remembered that I had this wool that I'd bought ages ago, which was wool that was sitting up on my shelf, that had, excuse me, I'm making such a mess of this, that was from one of our pound shops, so the low-cost budget shops around here. And I hadn't done anything with it, and I had quite a few balls of it, so I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. I did bring down one of the complete balls so you could have a look at it. I will put a close-up here so you can see it. It's called Pretty Baby, and it's a chunky knitting wool. In this case, I'm crocheting it, and it comes out as sort of, it's a pink and a blue and a white, but even through the blue you can see there's another strand of white within that, and I think it looks really quite nice. I like to make things easy for myself. I hate having to change colors all the time, much as I know it's sometimes necessary. I like to try and make it as simplified as possible for myself. I think a lot of that comes from obviously having worked full time and not having the time to always spend crocheting or knitting or doing what you want. So obviously because of that, then sometimes it's easier just to have something that's in one color and a little bit easier. And people have busy lives nowadays, and I recognize that. And even if you're at home with little children, you don't get much chance to do things sometimes for yourself. And if you do, they like to join in and help you. So yeah, sometimes it can be a bit awkward, and I get that entirely. Doesn't mean you don't want to have your hobby, because of course you do. Where's my mistake now? Find it so that I don't go too far. It's right there. Okay, I've still got quite a bit to go. So the things that I do, the patterns and the tutorials and stuff, I do try to make them quite easy and quick things for yourselves and for myself. So one of the things I have just put out is a little heart crochet coaster. And there's some beautiful ones out there, don't get me wrong, absolutely gorgeous, but some of them can be a bit more complicated, take a little bit more time, but I try to find things that I can do that it's a little bit quicker. So I developed my own pattern for the crochet coaster, and it's a nice quick makeup. It's not complicated, it's quick to do, and there is a tutorial on the channel here. I'll link it down below for yourselves, so that if you want to have a look at that and make that up, then you can. I do have a pattern in my shop for it, but you don't have to buy that. Obviously, if you want the physical copy, you can, but I try to make sure that there's ways for people to do things that isn't going to cost them a fortune. This time, I'm afraid everything is going up, and we all need to be conscious of that. So that's it. Okay, nearly there. So we all have to be conscious of that. So I am very aware of that, and I try to make sure that I have tutorials and stuff out there that has that patterns for stuff that you're not having to spend a fortune on, because that's not what you need to be doing. Especially if you've got young families and mortgages and everything else that might take up the rest of your money. You don't need to be worrying about that. But as I say, there is a physical copy there if you do want to buy that. If not, tutorials down below. So that's a lot of what I'm about, is trying to find ways that you can do things cheaper, faster, but still look good. And when I mean cheap, I don't mean to say that I would recommend something that didn't feel right and didn't look right. And that's why I did do that Timo haul, so that I could have a look at the quality of the wool. I wouldn't say that Timo is always as cheap now as what it used to be, but it does still provide you sometimes with coupons for money off and so on. That means that you can actually still have slightly cheaper products and so on. And it just helps you to be able to afford something that a little bit better. So this is the blanket I'm making out of the moss stitch. As I say, I do think it looks lovely. It makes up quickly unless you make a mistake and have to frog the whole thing back. Looks nice, and it's good fun to actually make up. You can sit and work on it without having to concentrate as hard on it as what you might do otherwise. So that's one that I do like, and I do think it is absolutely lovely. Now, another wool that I got, I was given this one as part of my birthday present, but I know that it is from, again, a more budget shop here in the UK, and I got given 2 of these balls of wool, really thick, very, very thick wool, and it took me a while to decide what I was going to do with it. But I decided I was going to make a basket out of it. So this is like a long basket, long and thin. But I thought it could actually be, once I've made it up, might be very handy for carrying some bits and pieces around with me. Because I'm always moving from one room to another and always need things to carry in. I do have my project bags and things like that I carry certain projects around with me and move off to different places. But I also wanted to know how I would get on making this up, because it is very, very thick. It feels quite soft, but it's very thick, and obviously you're using a big crochet hook with it. I have found that my hands get quite sore when I'm using this. I do have 1 or 2 dodgy knuckles, so sometimes my hands can feel quite painful when I'm doing certain things, and I think because the wool is so big and stitches that little bit harder to do, I am finding that it does seem to hurt my hand a little bit, which is a shame, but we will see how we get on with that one. And work away at that a little bit, but we'll get this one finished. And I do like making baskets. I've made quite a few different ones that the children's toys are in as well. I'll show you some of the photographs of them, and the children know the specific baskets because Nanny is a little bit OCD, and they put them in the right baskets for me. They're quite good like that, and in fact will tell other people off, their mummies and daddies, if they don't put it in the right baskets, because obviously that's where they're supposed to go. So that's some of the things that I'm working on at the minute. Now obviously end of last year I ended up doing Vlogmas, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was really nice to do, really enjoyed it. But I thought that I was able to have a look at so many different people's projects and so many different makers and what they were doing. It was really nice to be able to do that and get that ability to try out the different things and to recommend the things to other people. And it did mean I got to try so many different varieties of, in particular, Christmas things. Now, I also made a couple of little socks and Christmas stockings. And I must admit that it's not something I've really made because I have never sort of tried them before, really, I have to be honest. And I did find it was quite difficult to do. So the heels in particular can be quite difficult to do. So yeah, we did try that. I did enjoy it. There was tons of different things, but I found that one or two of the projects that I would have liked to do was going to take too long for me to be able to do, to make them in the one day, record my Vlogmas and edit it and get it up. And it did also mean that it stopped me from doing a lot of other things that I really wanted to do. Things I wanted to finish, things I wanted to try, and so on. Because I was busy, especially with the filming and editing as well. It wasn't just the crocheting of the items. The filming and editing takes quite a bit of time. So it did stop me from doing quite a few things that I would have otherwise maybe wanted to do. But it also gave me lots of different ones to try. As I say, really enjoyed the variety of things that I could try. And I was thinking that maybe going forward, I will do one or two videos to recommend things to yourself of ones that I've looked at, possibly about certain times of the year. So, you know, I mean, I don't want to jump on bandwagons or anything like that. I know a lot of people do these recommendations anyway, but I just so enjoyed it. I thought it's nice to be able to recommend other people and what they do, give a shout out to them. And it might be things that you yourselves would be interested in doing. And for me, I might well have different ideas as to what I would want to do. And I certainly would always be looking for that nice quick makes rather than the more elaborate things. So I think I sort of maybe put a slightly different slant on it than what a lot of people would do. So I will in the future have a look at that and put out a couple of recommendations to yourself at times in the year so that you can have a look at something that will be quicker makes, economical for you to do, and not take too much time, because I think that would be quite nice to be able to do. Now, going forward, I was saying about wanting to be able to try things, and one of the things I really want to be able to try is macrame. Now, something I've never done, and I may be absolutely useless at it, but I would love to give it a go. So that's one of the things I am going to be trying, and seeing how it turns out. I think, this is my opinion, as I say, I've never tried it, so I might be entirely wrong. I think that it maybe goes along with crochet quite well, because I know, I was going to say it looks similar, it doesn't, but I just want to give it a go. And for you, those of you out there that's probably done macrame and screaming at the camera going, it's really not the same, then I apologise. But I am going to give it a go and see. My wonderful husband bought me a macrame kit to try to see whether I enjoy it or not. And then I'll take it from there if I do, and I'll let you know how that one goes. So as I say, those are the things that I'm wanting to try for myself. I would love to hear what you're working on, new projects that you might to try, something that you might want to try out, a bit like my macrame. Please put in the comments down below. Let me know what you're going to be working on. And it'd be lovely to see some of your works in progress as well. Stick a couple of photographs in and we can all work together. Now, as I said to you, I was working on something else over my little bit of a break, and that was my Shopify shop. And it's got to a stage where it's open now. Again, I'll put the link to that in the description down below. And I thought that it would be a good idea for me just to let you know what will be in the shop, in case it's of interest to yourself. Now, obviously, I do have those patterns in there. So I've got, I think, 4 patterns up at the minute. I will get more as time goes on. And as I say, they're all quite quick, easy makes to make, because I do think that time is always of the essence for all of us. I've got some made to order items on there. So when you order them, they will take time to be made before I can send them out to you. I do have some one-of-a-kind items in there. So I've made them, just wanted to try them, and then I will put them up for sale. And there'll be lots of different ones like that coming out as well. Some of the ones that I have made, I may well make again and put up for sale. But as I say, it's some of them is one of a kind. I've got a lovely baby set that's up there, which I will make to order, but obviously again, because there's a little blanket included in that one, it does take a little bit of time to make. So everybody will have to bear with me. Now, obviously, EU itself has a lot of new things coming into place where we now have a lot more to do and and I don't think it's going to be possible for me to ship to the EU and Ireland. I had actually turned out all international shipping, but I'm hoping to open it up for everybody else again. I just need to look at that. So if you're in America or India or any of the other places which is not EU or Northern Ireland, then I should be able to open it up for all of you. So hopefully by the beginning of next week, I'm away this weekend, I'll be able to have that shipping organized and up for all of you. So if anybody does want to order something, then you can. Obviously, the patterns are downloadable, so therefore they won't be affected by it. But everything else is affected by it, and I do need to make sure that I'm abiding by all the regulations, and it's just not going to be possible for me to ship to the EU, which I think is a huge shame, but it is what it is. And as I say, we need to follow all the regulations. But obviously, along with my Shopify shop, I do still have my Etsy shop open. I'll put a link for that too. But I don't have as much things up in my Etsy shop as I do in my Shopify shop, just because I need to work out whether it's even worth my while keeping my my Etsy shop open because of the fees and so on. I just need to have a look at that and see whether I'm going to continue to leave it open or not. I will work that one out and let you know as time goes on. So I did post my new schedule yesterday. No, 2 days ago. So that is up on the community tab. And it has a little bit about the schedule for the channel and the videos that I'm going to have coming out. So this Hooked Hangout podcast will be up every third Tuesday of the month. I thought that was easier than saying it will be around about the 20th. I will have a video out every Tuesday and every Friday. The Friday ones will be my tutorials, and among those there will be some that will be of my stitches as well. So as in the moss stitch that I'm starting with, and there'll be lots of different ones as well. So there'll be a little library of stitches for people to have a look at and choose if they want to make them, and there'll be the instructions there and a tutorial of how to do them. My Tuesday ones will be more slightly longer format, so there'll be the podcast. I'm going to have a 2 weekly, roughly, one on things such as my YouTube, how it's going, trying to work towards monetization on it. And obviously, again, just a little bit about my business, about Shopify, about Instagram and various other things that's going on. So that will be a 2 weekly roundup of that. So I won't be doing that quite so much on here, work more on the different projects and different things that I'm doing in that way. I will also be putting out in the months, sometimes I'll put out a separate different video which will be a little bit just maybe recommendations. It might be wool hauls, could be just things that I think might be interesting to yourselves, and all focused towards that, trying to make sure that you can make nice quality items on a budget and with those time frames in, because when you're busy, when you've got young families or are busy working or both, finding the time sometimes to complete things can be hard, and I know that entirely. So I try to make sure I can work in some of those quicker items for you and more budget items as well. So if you enjoyed the podcast, please give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and leave your works in progress in the comments section down below. Let me know other things you might like to see from me on here. And it just leaves me to say thank you so much for joining me and keeping me company today. I'm looking forward to seeing you back here in the new year, and I hope you're as excited for 2025 and what's coming up as what I am. See you in the next one.